Hello, I'm Neely Jones, your host of Focus on Suppliers. Creating a seamless omni-channel experience, top priority for the world's largest retailer, but it can present some challenges for suppliers. 8th and Walton's mission is to help suppliers be better partners to Walmart and Sam's Club. Knowing that Walmart's deadline for the Store Assortment Online Initiative is right around the corner, today's special will focus on resources available to you and what distinguishes one from another. Focus on Suppliers starts right now.
Focus on Suppliers is presented by 8th and Walton, the premier destination for supplier development, and sponsored in part by Dun & Bradstreet, Saatchi & Saatchi X, Case-Stack, and other outstanding companies.
Your Millennial Fun Fact is that 91% of millennials shop with their mobile device. Now, we knew they were shopping with a mobile device often, but 91% is a significant amount of people walking through the store with their mobile device. So we need to think about how do we really engage them to use that mobile device as part of their shopping experience. We know about 67% of millennials are price checking using that mobile device, and then ultimately making about 40% of their decisions on a mobile device, some in-store and some out of store. Really creating a holistic shopping environment for them and driving that e-commerce experience, whether they're in or out of store, is absolutely critical. As you think about connecting with millennials emotionally, make sure that you've made that shopping experience a connection that makes them feel that they're in power of their shopping experience. Use cues and tips that help them along the way, whether in or out of store. And we'll see you next time for the next Millennial Minute.
Joining us now is Brian Gildenberg of Kantar Retail. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, Neely.
Let's talk about what folks can do to make improvements, but first kind of give an overview of what you've seen.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think from an overview point of view, there's a couple of important things to keep in mind. One, e-commerce in the U.S. takes about 10% of everything that's bought and sold. It's actually roughly the same size that Walmart is in terms of the overall retail ecosystem. And e-commerce is growing pretty rapidly. By 2020, it'll be about 16% of everything that's bought and sold. Probably two important things to keep in mind. Number one, e-commerce, it's a global phenomenon, but there's different sort of manifestations of that in different countries around the world. China has a massive e-commerce market, powered by Alibaba and JD360, as well as Walmart's business Yihaodian. But that's more of a marketplace model. So imagine if eBay was the giant e-commerce operator, but eBay made all of its money selling advertising. And that's effectively what Alibaba does. In Europe, you've got much more of a home delivery model with grocery being driven mostly by the large grocers, including, of course, Asda, Walmart's business in the UK, as well as the French retailers who have a slightly different model, which is instead of bringing stuff to your home, they'll really emphasize sort of the click and collect model through a concept that they call Drive. So you've got a really interesting global phenomenon, and it's developing really differently in different parts of the world. The US has grown up very much in what we would call sort of an Amazon-centered ecosystem. It's not a knock on any brick and mortar retailer that's trying to do e-commerce, but I think Amazon is really it's set the tone through which consumers engage with the e-commerce ecosystem. And it's been largely general merchandise driven rather than food. And it's really about sort of buying, individual items or sort of small baskets or small collections of items. So that's sort of an overview way to think about it.
In a nutshell.
Yes, in a nutshell, yes.
You and I were talking, and I was mentioning to you that sometimes in sports, two great athletes feed off each other. They almost need each other to do better and better. And I said, can you kind of compare e-commerce and Amazon and Walmart? And you had a very funny...
Well, as I said, I think up until a couple of years ago, this was more like the great scene, the moment in Rocky III where Rocky comes out and fights Mr. T and finds out this is a very different opponent than he was used to. I think Walmart's done what Rocky did. Went back to the mat, learned how to retrain, fought left-handed, chased chickens around. But in all seriousness, I think what you've seen Walmart do is really reapply themselves, like Rocky did, to learning the new skills that were important to really competing with a very different competitive animal than they've ever come across before. Amazon's a very smart, very sophisticated company that does a lot of really smart things. And I think Walmart's been working hard to pick up its capabilities to compete with them.
So that's a great overview.
Yeah.
As we move into our show, what's something that suppliers should keep in mind when it comes to e-commerce and the evolution?
Well, I think there's a couple of big things, but I think the main thing is that there's a lot of really big strategic questions about how e-commerce is going to interface with stores. If you're a brick and mortar retailer, how you're going to create the greatest seamless shopping experience of scale, as Walmart likes to say. But at its basic level, I think a lot of the questions people are trying to answer today aren't those big strategic questions. They're really straightforward, pretty tactical, operational questions. How do we get sort of a consistent item file so that we can sell more stuff online? Mm-hmm. How do we make sure that our product images match our product descriptions? How can we do really good basic assessments? The real key thing is that everybody, like Rocky with Mr. T, everybody needs to learn some new skills here and learn some new techniques and some new tools. And there's an enormous amount of work going on like that, and a lot of smart people trying to figure it out. So
couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Be sure to like 8th and Walton on Facebook.
We're here today with Ron Tarks from 8th and Walton. Welcome, Ron.
Great to be here.
Today we're going to be talking about Omnichannel and specifically Walmart's little slogan called treating.com as the #1 store. What does that mean? We heard that at your beginning meeting.
I tell you what, it's a very exciting slogan. It's a rare opportunity, I think, for suppliers to take advantage of this whole omni-channel experience that's going on, and for them to grow their business, probably an opportunity that hasn't come around in a while, in several decades. So what Walmart's asking them to do, when you think about treat.com as your #1 store, they're actually wanting brick and mortar suppliers to understand, hey, if you treat.com as your #1 store, you will take care of the whole omni-channel experience that Walmart wants its customers to have.
Well, and expectations are changing for suppliers, right? Through this omni-channel experience and through Walmart's expectations. What are those?
Well, the expectations are really around content and additional attributes, descriptions, and managing this whole omni-channel experience for the customer. There's a lot more to consider for a supplier, brick and mortar suppliers, and with that, there are more requirements that Walmart will be expecting of them.
And let's talk a little bit about those requirements because smaller suppliers that really don't have a lot of resources, it's going to be difficult for them to match up to these things.
Yes, there's different avenues. You can do it all yourself. You can use various service providers, content providers to support this process, and it all depends on your office setup, what your needs are. But there are a lot of options out there for the
So a smaller supplier that, let's say they want to try to do it themselves. 8th and Walton, you guys have some classes or some things that can teach them how to do this?
Yes. In this class, we'll talk about the whole range, whether it's you want to do it yourself or what the different content or service providers are out there. And, that way you can look at your options and choose what to do.
Absolutely. Well, Ron, a lot of exciting things happening around Omnichannel, and thank you for your expertise today.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Joining us now, we have Ed Carroll from Web Collage. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us, Neely.
There's some folks who, believe it or not, may not be familiar with your company.
Yeah.
Kind of give us a little bit of history and tell us about the company.
Yeah, we started in 1999 and with a basic goal in mind of syndicating enriched content out for manufacturers into the e-commerce retail channel. And so, in essence, what we are doing is we are giving brands back the power to be able to construct their product messages or their brand messages as they want them to appear in the e-commerce retail channel. And a byproduct of that, which is terrific, is we create a much more engaging experience, which translates into a lot more conversions for retailers.
Which is wonderful all across the board.
Absolutely.
When we talk about e-commerce and omnichannel, obviously, if you don't know it's grown, I don't know where you've been, but let's talk about the growth and change we've seen.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, 3.5 trillion of the projections that they're talking about in the e-commerce space alone for 2019. But what we're also finding is amazing is the influence that the digital channel is having on the brick and mortar. They're saying now that 64 cents of every dollar that's spent in brick and mortar is actually influenced by the digital channel. So there's a lot of excitement, a lot of people moving into that space very quickly.
It's a little different than it used to be. You really want to utilize that space well and make sure that your content is, quote, enriched.
Yes, enriched, absolutely consistent. They're saying that the brands that are out there that have the consistent brand message across all opportunities for a shopper coming in to be able to view their product or research their product before making a purchase either in the e-commerce space or in the retail space, it's imperative in order to be successful in the growing economy.
And some manufacturers may find that difficult or daunting.
Yes.
That's where you come in.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of moving pieces that go into it. You'd be able to put your content individually on each one of these retailers would be a very daunting task. And so what we have done is we've created a series of building blocks within our SaaS-based platform that empower manufacturers to be able to create the brand story or the product story that they're looking to have syndicated broadly across all these different channels in a single place. And so basically they hit it, put it in one place one time, hit the button, and they're syndicated out very broadly.
So it's fair to say that people are coming to you because they need your help to optimize their content.
Yes, there is optimization, there is configuration, and there is a whole suite of services that we have that go into supporting people and not only creating that brand message, but also evaluating it and changing it, being agile with their message and being able to stay optimized in the marketplace.
And one of the things that's important to remember, because I know every time we talk to people, it's all about efficiency for them as well. And you can really take that, you can make their time management so much easier for them.
It's huge. It's definitely the number one thing that we focus on when it comes to client satisfaction. Being able to come to a single workspace, be able to put all of their content in and then publish it out and not have to worry about all the different templates and all the different compliance for different e-commerce spaces, it's a huge time saving. And in this deadline-driven society that we're in right now, it makes a big impact.
That's what we need. And if you don't have a presence online, you're really behind and going to suffer.
Yes, absolutely. It can be. It's amazing. We actually have a client set that ranges from companies that have hundreds and hundreds of products in the channel, all the way down to clients that have just one product in the channel. So we can help them all.
Thank you so much for making the time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
We'll be right back. Joining us now is Kenji Jovic, who comes to us from Content Analytics. Thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
For people who don't know about your company, just kind of give us a brief overview about what you do.
You bet. Content Analytics is a technology company. We're based in San Francisco, and we have technology products that serve the e-commerce industry. So we're kind of in two different categories of products. So one is around e-commerce analytics. So we pull together reporting and analytics from our scraper that goes to a number of different websites, Walmart.com included, to provide reporting on the health of the item pages there. The other side of what we do is around content syndication. So we help suppliers with setting up items on retailer sites like Walmart.com, as well as pushing out content like uploading images and descriptions. So that's what we do.
One of the things a lot of people are looking for is efficiency, and you guys have a way to make that happen for folks. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, you bet. So if you're an account manager for Walmart.com, for example, you're trying to use whatever tools you have available, and usually the tools are pretty nascent right now. So it's a lot of spreadsheets, it's a lot of doing things manually and by email. And so we've developed a suite of tools to help you as an account manager be more effective at your job and dramatically save your time. So for example, we pull all the reporting together so you have a dashboard with all of your metrics, your sales, your traffic to your item pages, all the content metrics like how many images you have on your item pages, whether the item is in stock, et cetera. And so all that is available at your fingertips, which saves you time. You don't have to go to different systems to pull it together. It's all aggregated for you. And then we have the tools to do something with that. So if you have your assortment listed on Walmart.com and they're not high quality items in terms of the content, then we have the tools to go and improve the items. So you can go and upload images very quickly, edit the descriptions, set up new items. And so our tools make your job much easier, much faster, and we get the content published very quickly.
You can do it all through one portal.
One portal. In fact, I sometimes joke it's kind of like Lord of the Rings, one portal to rule them all. You can do all of your e-commerce account management from one place. In fact, we actually work with multiple retailers. So if there's somebody that is e-commerce across the entire space, so calling on Amazon, Target.com, et cetera, you can do the same thing for one portal. So that's right.
We were talking a little bit about analytics, and I was saying, what makes your content different? Is there something special that you do to help people tweak the business that they're running?
Great question. So several things. So first of all, our service is across a number of different features. As I mentioned, we have both e-commerce analytics as well as content. Most other providers in the space are focused on one or the other, and we do both really well. That's one. The second thing is we're big data, and so we have a scraper that goes out to a number of different sites and crawls millions of different items and pulls back dozens and dozens of attributes from each of the items and aggregates it and provides reporting. And so if you're trying to move at the speed of e-commerce and you're talking about thousands of items, you need some technology to pull that together. So that's one thing. The other thing that makes us different is our interface is so easy to use. So without an interface, you have to do everything manually and sort of figure it out and ask a lot of questions. We have all the tools available to you, so you can just load your content and get going quickly without a lot of training time, and so you can get items published very, very quick. So it's a very easy interface.
And efficiency is the name of the game at this point.
That's it, because the institutional knowledge within the Northwest Arkansas community and the supplier community at large around e-commerce is surprisingly small. And so without the tools, it makes it even harder. So if you have knowledge but no tools, then you can usually brute force it. Without tools, you really can't do that. And so we bring the tools together to make it so easy to get your metrics together and to do something with it, to activate your account. And so that saves account managers so much time, and it's a much more powerful offering. So that way, when you're working with Walmart.com, you have all your metrics together, all your tools, and so you can move the business forward much more quickly.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.
Visit us at 8thandwalton.com to learn how you can become a better partner with Walmart.
Bentonville Plaza, across the street from the Walmart home office. The best office location offers proximity and services like no other business complex in the area. Call 479-200-1112 today.
With over a decade of experience in the Walmart digital ecosystem, Rockfish builds engaging, cutting-edge solutions as your digital innovation partner on retail CPG, shopper marketing, and digital shelf optimization. Find out more at rockfishdigital.com.
K-Stack, the leader in collaborative retail consolidation programs. We offer the supply chain expertise needed to navigate the challenges of selling products with the world's largest retailers. And we provide customers with a customizable, scalable, environmentally sustainable supply chain with the same advanced technology typically used by larger rivals. By leveling the playing field, K-Stack lowers distribution costs and increases overall margins. K-Stack, retail logistics is what we do.
You just had your buyer meeting. Now there's follow-up to do. Maybe your buyer wants more on seasonal sales, or invited you to prepare a joint business plan or set up a date for your line review. 8th & Walton can help. Our experts work with you one-on-one in a confidential setting to prepare for your next buyer meeting. The classes we offer help you too. Retail Link, Supply Chain Management, Inventory Management, taught in cities across the country, in Canada, and in Latin America. So before your next buyer meeting, contact 8th & Walton. Then relax, knowing that you will be ready.
We have a special guest with us today from Opal. Please join me in welcoming Victoria Bolden. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I like talking with you about Opal. You're very passionate for obvious reasons, which we'll go more into a little later on. But for folks who don't know about Opal, can you give them an overview of the company?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Opal is a cloud-based order processing and fulfillment solution designed specifically for Walmart and Sam's Club dropship suppliers.
Which brings me to your mission statement. I know it's so important to you to really get your mission out there. What is your mission?
Our mission is to take the chaos and frustration out of order processing for dropshippers.
Which you have a very unique perspective on.
I do. Not only was I able to help develop the software, I'm also a customer and use the software daily.
What are some of the things that the software can do, some of the capabilities that's going to make a supplier's life easier? Because that's what it's all about, right?
Yes. Opal is 100% no touch. It's smart software. It's fully integrated and fully automated. And what that means is Opal is directly connected with Walmart and Sam's Club servers. It goes out there and checks the servers for orders every few seconds. It is integrated with the supplier's accounting software, QuickBooks, Oracle, SAP. It is also directly integrated with FedEx and UPS.com. And Opal gets the order down from the server and uploads it into the supplier's accounting software and goes out to the FedEx and UPS websites to create the shipping label. The supplier doesn't have to lift a finger.
They don't have to manually go back in and enter information, and it's all done.
There's no manual data entry whatsoever. No more entering the same information into multiple portals. Opal does it all. It's a smart system.
Well, and it's a little bit unique from other systems.
It is. Opal is EDI compliant. It is not EDI. EDI is only a partial solution. So Opal provides the complete end-to-end solution from the second an order comes in till the order is out the door.
You guys are with them every step of the way, if you will, almost holding their hand, making life easier for everybody all the way around.
Yes.
Is that a good way to put it?
Yes, it is.
That brings me to, you provided us with some information which you say that Opal can actually reduce order processing time by about 90%.
Yes. Yes, Opal, it has typically taken up to 5 minutes to process a single drop ship order. Opal can process and fulfill one order in less than 60 seconds.
I mean, that's fantastic. That's an efficiency everybody needs. You can reduce processing cost by up to 80%.
Yes, there are no EDI transaction costs, and you are also reducing your labor costs because you don't have to pay staff to sit there and process orders because Opal will do it for you.
You've got this trusted partner right there with you who also, obviously from the things that you're saying and the information that you've given us, you say improve order accuracy by 99%. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, because you're eliminating the manual data entry portion and everything is electronic and automatic, Opal takes the information and populates the correct fields. There's no more incorrect addresses or wrong item shipped, wrong quantity shipped, wrong number mistyped in a purchase order number. So it's a complete order accuracy.
Thank you so much. Joining us now is Jeff Rexigal. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now you're here to talk with us about Liquidity Services. Explain to me what your company does.
Sure. Liquidity Services is a global solution provider providing services for some of the world's largest retailers and manufacturers. We provide services ranging from logistics and fulfillment, reselling services, refurbishment, and everything in between.
Wow, that's a lot. Now, how did you get to becoming a drop ship vendor and your relationship with Walmart? How did that all come about?
Sure. Like I said, our clients have surplus inventory, and it's our job to help them find the best way to sell that inventory. We found several years ago that Walmart.com was a great platform to sell products, and we took the opportunity to integrate with Walmart, and that enabled our clients to sell their products there.
When we talk about your learning experiences, your relationships, that brings me to my next question, which is what do you want suppliers to know about you and your company, in addition to what we've already discussed?
Sure. Like I said, we can provide a range of services from fulfillment and logistics to sales and marketing. We think there's a great opportunity for companies to do more business on Walmart.com. Again, it's been very successful for our clients. We've sold over 100,000 items on Walmart.com. And because we have that existing integration built and we know how to provide that service to Walmart's customers, we're ready to bring on additional business to help other companies sell product on Walmart.com.
And put efficiencies in place.
Yeah, absolutely. We're able to use the fulfillment network we have. We have over 1 million square feet of warehouse space, and we know how to fulfill to meet Walmart's expectations.
How can you better support suppliers in making sure that they're in line with those guidelines?
Sure. So Walmart has a limited amount of fulfillment space, a limited amount of store space, so they're really pushing companies to drive more of their products to Walmart.com. We're in position to help them with that. Again, we have this existing business with Walmart.com. We're able to bring companies into that. We're able to help teach them how to integrate, either themselves or by using our integration, how to set up their products on Walmart.com, and then lastly, how to fulfill products on Walmart.com. An example of that is Walmart expects that any shipment that a company receives by noon today should ship today. That's difficult for many companies to do who aren't practiced in that. Our practice is to ship every shipment that comes in by 3 o'clock today. So we're actually more aggressive than Walmart standard. And we find that that really helps our clients succeed.
To help with that turnaround?
Yeah, to help with that turnaround and provide the great level of service that Walmart expects for their customers.
Exactly. Is there any other bit of advice that you would offer to suppliers when it comes to operating in this space?
Yeah, I think, again, we've learned that integration, setting this up, can be a challenge. It requires technical resources, project management. Really think about whether that's something you want to take on yourself or work with a partner like Liquidity Services. Secondarily, you need to be prepared to manage the execution of performing on dropship. Are you ready to complete all those shipments today? Many companies are, but many would prefer to use a service provider like us to help with that service.
So you may think you are, but when you really start to look at the nitty-gritty of it, you may need some help.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. We shipped thousands of laptops on Black Friday. we were able to meet Walmart's expectation even though we were shipping thousands of products, and not many companies can do that.
It's about meeting demand both for the world's largest retailer, but also for consumers.
Yeah, that's right. At the end of the day, it's about serving consumers well, and that's what this service provides.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you today.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. You can see all episodes and extended interviews at Vimeo.
GigWalk is transforming how work gets done. As the leading mobile workforce management platform, GigWalk provides companies with mobile tools and a data-driven approach to improving business efficiency. Leading brands and retailers use GigWalk to manage their field teams and to mobilize 750,000 GigWalkers to collect data intelligence about their business and brands. Are the shelves stocked? Are my products priced competitively? Are the correct promotions in place? Visit us at gigwalk.com to learn more. GigWalk, make work better.
Don't conduct business in the dark. The Northwest Arkansas Business Journal sheds light on what's happening in Walmart's backyard. Subscribe today. To get 2 free issues with your subscription, go to nwabusinessjournal.com/promo and use promo code FOCUSONSuppliers.
Bentonville Commerce, less than 1 mile from the Walmart home office. You'll love the convenience, amenities, and customized options Bentonville Commerce offers. For more information or a tour, call 479-200-1112 today.
To learn how to comply with Walmart's SAO Initiative, visit ethanwalton.com/SAO. Whether you're considering a content service provider or doing it yourself, our experts are here to help. Call us at 479-715-6700 or visit us online.
Joining us now, a friend of the show, to say the least, Jeff Amrine of Startup Junkie. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's great to be back.
Our focus, of course, e-commerce or the omni-channel, however you want to say it. Elaborate on the changes we've seen in the future.
Well, so it's interesting. E-commerce, it's not the death of retail. It's just another avenue to get to customers in the way they want to receive it, whether it's mobile or online. So it's an interesting change that all the existing brick and mortar retailers need to take into consideration for sure.
And everybody's really having to keep up with the things that we've seen when we talk about companies like Amazon.
Absolutely. So Amazon is doing kind of a vertical and horizontal integration. They're adding brick and mortar stores. They're talking about getting into transportation and logistics. So it's kind of a land grab right now within that whole picture of e-commerce and retail for sure.
Put dollars and cents together for our viewers.
So it's pretty big. In 2016, it's estimated by Gartner to be $327 billion out of the total retail picture. So you can't ignore it, that's for sure.
And how important is the mobile aspect of that?
All the mobile transactions are accounting for about 30% of all e-commerce sales. So it's getting more and more important all the time, no doubt about it.
And content marketing. People really need to horn in on the demographic that they're trying to reach.
Exactly. And part of that is it's got to be compelling and it's got to be engaging and it's got to be something that is not trying to sell them but trying to give them information so that they can make a good decision.
It's a good way to think of it like being in conversation with someone as opposed to talking at someone.
Exactly. There's a guy named Jay Baer who wrote a book called Utility, and he says, be helpful first, and you ultimately make the sale. And that's what all of these content marketing plays are really trying to do.
What's the number one thing that you've seen that could be helpful to our suppliers watching this show?
I think the main thing that they need to be opportunistic about is most of the people that are surveyed are now saying if they had the opportunity to buy something directly, right from the supplier, they would. Now, as a major retailer, that's consequential as well, which implies that they need to think about vertical integration, having house brands, that sort of thing. So I think it's going to be some of all of it. You'll see omni-channel, you'll see direct-to-consumer. I think all those trends are things that can't be ignored.
And where have we seen the biggest growth as a whole?
I would say the biggest growth in general is in the mobile aspect of it, but it's for every product category you could imagine. It's not just electronics. It's now becoming more apparel as well because there's good programs around making sure the fit is right so you don't have those returns that have typically plagued online apparel sales in the past.
And when we talk about the future of e-commerce, these are things that people, it's kind of been the buzz. We've been talking about this for a little while. What's one step further?
Well, the next thing is branded e-commerce. And the idea behind branded e-commerce is people are not going to be just solely satisfied with the e-commerce player being an intermediary. Mm-hmm. They want to buy from the people that are actually making the products. So this idea of branded e-commerce is going to be hugely important. Amazon has won the strict e-commerce game. They have. Walmart is catching up. They're gaining traction. But for small e-commerce startups, it better be a product or a service that you yourself have created.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you
Glad
here.
to be here.
We'll be right back.
That does it for this week's show. But first, before we go, here are 3 key takeaways you might want to jot down, like the date May 31st. That's the day you have to have your SAO completed for Walmart. Also, when it comes to your website, don't forget to make it better with more content, photos, videos, just about anything you can think of. And last but not least, retail space, it's not growing. That's why you must focus on .com. It's very important. That does it for this show.